So that was a lot of fun. Let's see, what do we got next? I think we have, who's on the schedule there next? Joshua. Are you ready, Joshua, to give us some stuff? All right, let's see. Did Joshua give me a bio? He did. Okay. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Joshua. If I can find his bio. Here we go. Joshua Mertz, who became one of our wonderful helpers today. And I just want to remind you, for all helpers and readers and pretty much anybody here today, we have a little hospitality area over here. In the blue cooler, there's fresh apples and carrots. In the big cooler, there's drinks. Up on the top, there's coffee and donuts and dry nuts and pretzels. So help yourself, all right? Okay. Joshua Mertz is the son of a rocket scientist and a word-savvy mother. He has worked as a radio DJ, a TV switcher, an offset litho cameraman, and spent some 20-odd years as a teleprompter in Hollywood. Joshua is a graduate of the University of Southern California. Okay, but what kind of person is he? Well, Joshua is a really nice guy. He grew up with a blind sister, and the family did a lot of reading aloud. He has done a fair amount of community theater and has quite a theatrical flair, which I can attest to. He does. He has had poetry published in Harper's Bazaar and Filmmakers Newsletter, and has had short stories published in Amazing Stories and Aboriginal Science Fiction. He has also published a science fiction novel. At the country fair, he transforms into Hagam?
El Hakim.
Oh, El Hakim. The MC for the Gypsy Caravan Belly Dancers. I want to see that. Joshua is known for his endless love of and play on words. Joshua is enamored of cats and considers it the mark of a civilized man. And I asked my poets if they would submit a one-sentence bio for fun, and this is what Joshua came up with. Joshua Mertz, whose inner age is around 12, embraces both absurdity and profundity and celebrates the tension between them. Please welcome Joshua Mertz.
I'll adjust it. Yeah, I will. I'll adjust the stand. Let's see. I'm going to sing it. Ding. Okay. Alrighty.
And here?
Just a dab up. I think I'll be fine like that. Everyone can hear me, I assume. Very good. Okay. I'm going to do 3 poems about men's lives. Stephen was kind enough to say that we can read other people's poems and my own, so I'll do somebody else, then me, then somebody else. But I thought today, one of my thoughts is I would like to do an audience participation poem. And I want you all to participate. We all know the cosmic word, Om, right? So what I want you to do is when I go like this, we'll all go, Om, together. Let's practice, okay? Om. This garden universe vibrates complete. Some we get a sound so sweet. Vibrations reach on up to become light, and then through gamma out of sight. Between the eye and ear there lie the sound of colors and the light of a sigh, and to hear the sun. What a thing to believe! But it's all around if you could but perceive. To know ultraviolet, infrared, and X-rays, beauty to find in so many ways. 2 notes of the chord, that's our full scope. But to reach the chord is our life's hope. And to name the chord is important to some. So they give it a word, and the word is, thank you. That's the Moody Blues. Well, now that we've all participated, I will tell you the story of 3 men. Okay. Bing, bing. Yes. The first is by Edgar Lee Masters. We all remember the, maybe the Spoon River Anthology. This is Fiddler Jones. The earth keeps some vibration going there in your heart, and that is you. And if the people find you can fiddle, why fiddle you must for all your life. What do you see, a harvest of clover or a meadow to walk through to the river? The wind's in the corn and you hear the sound of beeves hereafter ready for market, or else you hear the rustle of skirts like the girls when dancing down at Little Grove. To Cooney Potter, a pillar of dust or whirling leaves meant ruinous drought. To me, they sounded like Redhead Sammy stepping it off to tour lure. How could I till my 40 acres, not to speak of getting more, with a medley of horns, bassoons, and piccolos stirred in my brain by crows and robins and the creak of a windmill? Only these. And I never did start to plow in my life that someone did not stop in the road and take me away to a dance or a picnic. I ended up with 40 acres. I ended up with a broken plow and a broken fiddle and a broken laugh and 1,000 memories and not a single regret. Now one of my own, a little darker. The background story to this is I went to visit a friend of mine in Los Angeles, and the family, we went up to Descanso Gardens. The man's wife is a art teacher, and we went out and we painted flowers. And I was just dabbing the paint on, and she said, you know, what you do is you lay down the background color, usually the lightest one, and then you paint over that. You're going to do a scene in a forest, lay down some green, and then you do the darker colors over. And I thought about that, and I thought about Uncle Millard. What color would you lay down first? Uncle Millard, the black sheep of the family, the drunk, the brilliant mind, the wasted life, a streak of cruel masquerading as absurdity. The drink, always the drink, and a degree in commercial art. Never dangerous or cruel to me, he had no friends, and I loved him for his dangerous absurdity, his friendless austerity, because he saw me as a person, not a child, because he loved me, and for his art. It was not so much his works, they were scant, but in the way he saw things, including, of course, me, and the way he talked of things, as if we were equals, as if I understood. On a rare visit, we stood on his porch and drank in the suburban night, redolent with city noise and pools and points of light. What color would you lay down first? Around us was the dark, warm and embracing. Black, I replied, black, because it is night. He smiled his Uncle Millard smile at me and called me muscles for brains, a loving term dripping with absurdity. Yellow, he said. You would lay down yellow. Then we took a secret walk to his secret store to buy more liquor. He never explained why the yellow. I never visited again. He moved on down... He moved on down a darkening path to his appointment with sadness and a failing liver. I got his furniture and a photo, but never an explanation. Decades passed. Occasional flashes of that suburban night pricked with electric incandescence, forgotten brushstrokes, an empty bottle, until one day a friend, an artist, invited me to the garden to paint bright flowers. You lay down the background color first, she told me, then apply the other colors over it. My flowers and trees that day were pathetic. I had never painted before or understood the quiet strength of underneath, or Uncle Millard, drowning in alcohol, crying in the night with brush and form and thought and the unknown song of his heart. He had told me the secret when I was a child. We lay down the light and cover it with darkness.
Yeah!
One moment.
Sorry, Steve.
Make sure, okay. Next, well, this is my favorite. This is my, oddly enough, it's my specialty. The man who translated Pablo Neruda, a magic realist, wrote a poem called The Tale the Hermit Tolls. It was one afternoon when I was young, in a village near here, which no one now remembers. Why, I will tell you, it was an afternoon of fiesta, with the bells in the hermitage echoing in the mountains, and a buzz of voices and dogs barking. Some said it could all be heard as far away as Calatayud. I was a boy then, though at that perilous point when tiny things could terrify and amaze me. The dust in the village square had been watered down, and we waited, laughing and jostling the satin rumps of the gypsy dancers. Across from us, the girls, all lace and frills, fluttered like tissue paper. Steve, I'm going to have to talk to you later. Across from us, the girls, all lace and frills, fluttered like tissue paper. Then, at a signal, as the charcoal burner's dog rolled over and over, shedding its ribbons, the village band blundered into tune, and the day began. The dancing dizzied me. There was one gypsy, unlike the others, tall, who spun on her feet, laughing to herself, lost in her own amazement. I watched her as though in a dream. All round, my uncles and the other men were calling "Ole," while the women tittered and pouted. There were more feet than shoes, more wine than glasses, more kisses than lips. The sun was burning. Next came a magician, an ugly, sly-eyed man not from our district. "Fiesta, fiesta," he called. Then, chanting a kind of spell, he swore he would conjure a live dove out of the air. I saw the dove's wing peeping from his pocket. So I wandered away, hating the sound of him, among the tables heavy with food and wine. And there was the gypsy girl, standing alone, head turned away to listen, as though she heard bells in the hills. She saw me, and her eyes, which were azure, not black, mocked me. I could not stop looking. Lightly she danced across, and keeping her eyes on mine, poured out a glass of golden wine and put it before me. I looked from her eyes to the wine. In it the sun was a small gold coin. The people looked like nuts. The band were brass buttons. The towering mountains the size of pebbles. The houses, matchboxes about the thumbnail square. A miniature magician was letting loose a dove which floated upwards. And there, in that golden, glass-held afternoon, were those mocking eyes. Time in that moment hung upside down. In a gulp, I drank the wine. What happened next? You must listen. Goggling boys, girls, dogs, band, gypsies, village, all rolled down my throat. Even the music glugged once and was gone. I was standing nowhere, horrified, alone, waiting for her eyes to appear and laugh the afternoon back. But nothing moved or happened. Nothing. 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 All that night I lay in a clump of pines and seemed to hear the hunters with their dogs, unribboned now, closing to flush me out. I hid my face in the needles. All the next day I tried to wish the village back, to vomit the wine, to free the white dove and the music. I could not. And as time passed, I lived on bitter nuts and barks and grasses, and grew used to the woods. I'm still here, on this barren mountainside. The years are nothing. Yet I am sure of this, that somewhere in my body there is a fiesta, with ribboned dogs, balloons, and children dancing in a lost village that only I remember. Often I have visions, and I hear voices I know call out. Was it the false magician who tempted me to magic? Or was it the gypsy girl who dropped her eyes in a glass and asked me to work wonders. Even now, in age, I wait to see her. Still a girl, come spiraling through the woods, bringing her mystery to me, and with her eyes, teaching me to undream myself and be a boy again, believing in a dove made out of air that circles overhead on a lost afternoon of fiesta.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Okay, so I think we're at a point where we're just going to do some impromptu stuff. So now that everybody's like, who could read has disappeared, except maybe Mary Cade's. And you're not ready. So, all right, so we're going to... No, what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break, about 15 minutes, and then we'll start up again, okay?